I'm here with Paul Wight. Paul, thank you for joining us, mate.
Thank you for having me.
How are you enjoying the heat in September over here?
Holy shit. I was a little surprised because, it's kind of nice. The sun's a little hot out in the middle of that field. And they were telling, this is the winter months.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get, like our show in February, I guess it's going to be super hot, right?
Yeah.
Well,
More humid than hot. It'll be the same heat, just a lot more humidity.
Well, I live in Florida, then I'll probably be all right with that then. Actually, that hot, humid heat would be better to wrestle in, especially when you've got arthritis, because it warms the joints up faster. So it's a lot better than wrestling in cold weather with it snowing outside in the stadium, because those suck. I've done a couple of those.
I was going to say you missed it because last week it was around like 20, 21 degrees. It was like cold. People walking around in jumpers and
yeah, okay, what's that in Fahrenheit? Remember, I'm a dumb American.
Fuck if I know.
Yeah, you say 21, like where I'm from, that's 11 degrees below freezing. So
you're the ones that changed it, not us. We
have to do our own thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Speaking of doing your own thing, how does it feel being in the business as long as you have, sort of helping to head up a company as young as AEW, breaking into new territories like Australia with a stadium show like this?
It's incredibly humbling and exciting. I think that's the thing for me that's been gratifying. I mean, I left a company that was a great company, was great to me. I had a lot of tenure there, a lot of people that knew me, that knew how I like to do things, and I knew what they expected from me and wanted from me. To kind of in some ways start over with a new company. I mean, I don't have my own private dressing room in AEW. I don't have any of that fancy dancy stuff. I'm there to help build a company and compete and work with some talent that haven't had the opportunity to compete on some of the levels that I have. And to see the opportunity that AEW now is growing, and we've had 2 successful shows in Wembley in the UK, and now we get a chance this February to come to Australia, which is building the brand, expanding the brand. I think AEW is doing great. Tony Khan is incredible to his employees. He's got a lot of ideas, big ideas, and implementing those ideas as our company's growing to take those ideas is sometimes a little bit challenging, but we're growing and learning together. And the talent that we have, that I've spent a lot of time with a lot of our core talent, we have some tremendous young women and young men in our company that have an incredible opportunity to build their brand worldwide working with AEW.
So you talk about working with the young talent. What specifically are you sort of working with them? How are you working with them?
I tell them how to get deals on hotels and rental cars. No, I mean I do, but
you need leg room in flights, boys.
Yeah. Let's make sure we negotiate. Remember, you're going to be on a plane. Make sure you negotiate what kind of class you want to fly. No, mainly for me, I don't try to change what the talent does in the ring. There's plenty of quality trainers there with QT, who's an excellent trainer. I don't think people understand how good QT Marshall is. I've got a chance to see him work and work with his students, and he's tremendous at communicating with his talent that he works with. Billy Gunn, of course, is my go-to guy when I'm trying to work things out in the ring. I've always gone to Billy for 25 years. I've gone to Billy and I've gone to Arn Anderson. Those 2 guys know me better than anybody else on this planet, as far as Billy's great at knowing what's in my head and how I need to get out of my head and get out of my own way. And Arn's great at simplifying things. Like, I remember going through a stage where I was trying to do a bunch of different things, and Arn says to me, he goes, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm trying to do this, this, and this." He goes, "That ain't you. You don't do pretty. You do ugly. Just go do ugly." And he walked off, and I was like, yeah, he's right. I don't do fancy and pretty. I do ugly. Let me just stick to ugly, and it works. So I try to help talent because I can see what they're looking for. And sometimes I can help them find that little bit of authenticity that they're looking for in presenting their character, and subtle things, little things that I pick up. Sometimes I have a feel with certain talent, or I'll notice something that I think, hey, that might help them. And like I tell them all the time, look, this is just my opinion. You don't have to do this, but I think this might help you. And and give them that. And it's worked out pretty good for some of the talent that I've talked to. They've understood it and implemented it in some of the things they've done. And it's very gratifying to be able to do that and give back to the business. I mean, being real honest, I don't have to do this anymore. I've had a very good career. I'm doing okay in life, but I do this because of where I work for and who I work for. I like the environment. I like the challenge. I like the hustle. I like the fact that we're breaking new frontiers and we're creating a more sustainable pro wrestling industry for the talent and for the fans. Sure, you can have your favorite. You can like WWE. You can like AEW. You can like both. That's fine. But for the talent, it's important because it gives the talent other opportunities. What might not work in one company might work in another. And that's what you want. You want that diversity to experiment, to find your own authenticity as a character and make your connection with the audience. And the more places that are successful doing that, that means the product is doing well. That means more fans are watching the totality of all the products, so the business is doing well. And it's tough, you know, especially in today's economy and with so many things going on with, apps and everything going on to capture people's attention. So it's a tough road to walk down for a lot of these talents, but you know their energy is high and their enthusiasm is fantastic.
Yeah, because you sort of like started in the sort of the Monday Night Wars, so to speak.
Well,
sort of like, how does that sort of compare to the sort of the AEW as the challenger now, as opposed to when you were in WCW
I think that's
as the
more
challenger?
fun for the fans. I mean, I don't think it's fair to compete. It's just my personal opinion. I think it's good to have aspirations and goals. I mean, you got WWE's in 190 countries and 6 or 7 billion followers or whatever the hell it is, over 1 billion followers on social media. But you understand that's a company that's been around a long time. That's a company that's had growing pains, that's figured out how to run as a system and become an incredibly big machine. AEW, we're growing and making some of the same mistakes, and some of the mistakes we're not making that they make, but we're building a different brand. I mean, if you cut it down the middle and you cut out the promotions, it's still the same kind of talent. I don't think ever in this industry, in the 25, 30 years that I've been around, that I've never seen a collection of more athletically talented pro wrestlers, male and female, than the business has to offer right now. Between both companies, even some of your other companies, New Japan, TNA, these other companies, some of the companies in Mexico, talent is unbelievable now, and the stuff that they can do in the ring. What is important now for talent to understand is find a way to be consistent, building a brand, making that connection with the audience, because that's the thing. Sometimes younger talent gets wrapped up in moves and Instagram clips, and they forget the key. If you're going to be around for a long time, whether they love you or hate you, you've got to connect with them in some way or not. You've got to make those people not forget you, to recognize your face, to recognize your voice. When something comes up that they'll think of you, that's when you've done your job. And that just takes time and consistency and, unfortunately putting the miles in and making the shows and doing the shows.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you don't have to be the best wrestler as long as you make the most contact with those people that are in the crowd.
I mean, I'm terrible. The only reason I'm a legend is I survived. I hung around for 30 years. I mean, you look at the amazing talent that I came in with between the Triple H's and Rocks and Stone Colds and Mick Foley's and Undertakers and Kanes and Sting and Flair and Hogan and Savage and Arn and Dusty. I mean, those are some of the greatest names this business has ever seen. Kurt, Brock, Drew, Kevin Owens, Roman, John Cena, for God's sake. How can I forget John Cena? I mean, these are all monumental talents that I've spent hours and hours up and down the road with, and weeks on the road, and I'm still doing it. So I don't think I'm really that good. I think I'm like that guy in The Office that they fired, but he never went home. He kept going to work. He kept going to work.
Just kept showing up until
that was me. I just kept showing up. And Well, he's still here. Use him. So
I mean, it didn't have anything to do with the fact that 7 foot or anything
maybe,
like that. Maybe a little bit?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe I stick out a little bit. Yeah. I look at it funny and humbly, but in a humble way. But I'm just grateful. And when it gets down to it on the inside, I'm still a big kid from South Carolina that's a fan. The first time I met Ric Flair, I had to go outside in Chicago and lean against the wall because I almost fainted. First time I met Hulk Hogan, I thought he was taller than me because he had so much presence. I remember telling my friend the first time I met Hulk, I was like, dude, I didn't know that Hulk was taller than me. He goes, what, are you nuts? You're like a foot taller than him. I'm like, no, I wasn't, dude. He was taller than me. He goes, no, he wasn't. And then I went back in. I was like, oh, yeah, I am taller than him.
He ain't that tall.
But as a kid growing up,
he's 10 foot tall.
He's 10 foot tall. Like his presence was just so huge. So, and it's funny. I've seen, even here in AEW the past few years, between Will Hobbs and like Daniel Garcia, these are kids and they're kids, they're young men, but I'm still going to call them kids because I'm old. No disrespect. But I remember them having matches on Elevation when I was commentating early, and like Daniel Garcia, I was like, wow, this kid's tough. He's got extra gears. He's a good wrestler. He's got something. He's got talent. He's got potential. And then to see where he is now, and he's one of AEW's stars that they can count on to go out there and give a hell of a match and still pull a rating. So that's good stuff. The Acclaimed. Yeah. Anthony Bowens and Max
Well, they would have
Caster.
benefited so much for having Billy.
Oh, Billy's been great. I mean, don't kid yourself. Billy's riding their coattails, okay? And I'll say that right in front of Billy's face, okay? Billy's asked all the time. I said, "What are you doing tonight?" I said, "No, I'm on the apron, man.
Do the scissor thing and then I sit down.
Scissor thing and I'm out." So believe me, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens are doing all the work. But it's great because one of the things that Billy was able to do with those guys is to let them know that they can be entertaining, they can have fun, and whatever they want to do is okay because of the way Billy approaches the business. And plus, you won't find a better person that understands the mechanical things in the wrestling ring and why you're doing something than Kip Sock. And I say it all the time, and I don't think people know. We've all heard that Fit Finlay is a great trainer. We've heard TJ is an amazing trainer. Sir William Regal, he's incredible fountain of knowledge to learn from. Billy is another one. Billy's one of those guys right away who processes what you're doing and then will explain to you what you're thinking in your head and why you're doing it and then help you fix it. So Billy's an amazing talent to have around. Dustin's the same thing. Dustin Rhodes is just it's effortless for Dustin Rhodes. They call him the natural. And Dustin's got to be, 175 years old? I mean, that's what I say anyway. And Dustin goes out there and just makes it look effortless.
He wrestled in the back of a truck.
Dustin doesn't, but that's the thing about Dustin. Dustin goes out there and just lays it down in a way that's almost poetry in motion to see a guy who's gone through everything that he's gone through.
Come through
highs, lows, come through the other side, man. And he is just as dependable as a really good steel crowbar. He's about as working with one, too, because he's not very light. He's like wrestling a bag of potatoes. Yeah, I said that, Dustin. You're like wrestling a bag of potatoes. And I always said that to make him laugh. But that's an incredible fountain of knowledge that our younger talent in AEW is actually getting in the ring and working with these talents and understand the thought processes and just the attitude. Like, one of the advices I gave to one of the teams a few weeks ago that'll remain nameless because I'll protect their identity. But they came back to me and they were asking, "Hey, what'd you think? What'd you think?" I said, "First of all, you guys are great. Stop asking me what I think. Don't search for validation. Top guys that are stars, guys that know who they are, don't search for validation. If you give them a compliment, they'll say thank you. But they know in their mind they're confident in who they were. You guys are there. Be confident in who you are."
I do a little bit of work with independent wrestling.
Yeah.
And sometimes the guys will come back and, you point out all these problems because you've got 100 people that'll tell you had a good match.
Yeah.
I'll say, you could fix this, you could work on that.
Well, here's my thing, too, on that. Like, yes, you got 100 people that'll pat you on the back that won't make a difference. That's not how you get better. You need to objectively look at it again yourself and analyze it from your perspective as a fan. Don't be a mark for your own stuff. But look at it. And if someone does give you criticism, understand where that criticism is coming from. If that criticism is helpful, then that's good. But if somebody's just pointing out a freaking mistake you made, that's not helpful.
No.
Anybody can tell a great match after it's over. Hindsight's 20/20. You know, if you want to help somebody, help them in a way where they're making a decision that isn't right for their character,
Yeah.
or isn't right for that particular situation. Help them so that the next time they're in that situation, they have information to pull from. Like I tell the guys, one of the exercises that I did for years driving up and down the road is I would have matches with the guys in my head driving down the road. Call the spots, call the heat, call the comeback, call the finish. Sometimes I go over, sometimes I put them over. Okay, then we'll have what happens if they get hurt, what happens if I get hurt, what happens if the rope breaks, what happens if the ring breaks,
Wow.
what happens if somebody hits the ring. So you prepare yourself for those situations, because those situations will happen.
And you gotta be ready.
And if you already have something in your head for that situation, I'm telling you, it'll pop up just like that, and you'll know what to do, and you won't ever panic. Because that's the thing you can't do as a wrestler in the ring. You can't panic. You know, famous words of Scott Armstrong, who used to referee a lot of my matches. All the time, he'd make me laugh because he'd look at me and go, "Hey kid, remember to breathe." You're like, "Yeah, that's kind of important. You're right. I need to breathe." You know, because sometimes you get so you're holding your breath, just like this. No, just breathe, bro. And all the guys that I've ever competed against that were really good, they knew who they were, and their whatever was going on the outside, their facials, or whether they were stomping a hole in you, but their inner self was at peace and confident. And if you can get to that place as a talent where you know who you are as a talent, that's when the fun happens. Because then you're just having fun. You're out there with your friends and you're having fun, and you might be there face down in a puddle of blood, and the crowd's going insane. You're picking thumbtacks out of your back, but you know, you're having the time of your life, and those are memories that you'll always carry with you.
Well, so hopefully the next time we see you, it'll be here.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be here. Hopefully I'll have my
50,000
gear
people.
on. Yeah,
Hopefully.
that'd be nice.
Maybe crack out the Captain Insano stuff.
I'm working on it, dude. I've got fresh gear, man. I just gotta get my ass back in it and get in the ring. So,
Paul Wight, thank you very much for joining
thanks,
us.
man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.